Xin Zhao has now become a top-tier champ in 3 different roles. Nami is one of the weakest enchanters in the game, and there's a brand new item combination for ADC that you need to be abusing right now. So we've got all this and much more to cover in today's video as we provide you guys with an update to the solo queue tier list for every single role.
Throughout the Rift, 5 distinct species engage in a daily struggle for survival. The top laner, exiled to the furthest reaches of the Rift, forced to survive alone in the most unforgiving territory. The jungler, perpetually torn. Should he hunt, or should he feed? Every choice, the wrong one. The mid laner, keeper of the Rift's most fertile ground, forced to defend his territory from constant invasion, even from his own kind. The ADC, a fragile creature in his most vulnerable life stage. He needs only time, yet his pack is determined to ensure he never gets it. And the support, the most tragic creature on the Rift, whose species' survival rests entirely in the hands of others. And yet, despite their struggles, a single discovery could change their fates forever. SkillCapped's brand new Season 16 Essentials courses for every role, designed to guide you through every stage of life on the Rift, from the very first wave to the final team fight. Each course split into easy and digestible chapters, each focusing entirely on what that species needs to thrive, the exact pain points, the exact fixes, the exact path to the rank you were always meant to reach. And remarkably, you can do it all completely risk-free, as should you somehow fail to climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service, you get every penny back. Get your one-time exclusive discount using the link in the description or pinned comment below.
So with the changes Xin Zhao received for this patch, he's been performing even better with AP builds. Top lane Xin Zhao with Static Shiv Rush is tracking as a legitimately powerful champion. Our challenger top laner Strumpist has been a huge advocate of the pick right from 26.9 when it got the AP ratio buffs, and he's got a full game commentary up on our website that can help you out if you're looking to pick him up. One of the really cool interactions that Xin Zhao has with Static Shiv that can catch your opponents off guard is the fact his E gets the enhanced range if you hit an enemy with the chain lightning effect from Static Shiv. So if the enemy is just trying to farm and is sitting in behind their ranged minions, if you auto the wave and the Shiv passive proc hits the enemy, you can then just jump to them with E from such a long distance without even needing to land your W. For the core build, it's going to be a Shiv Rush into Dusk and Dawn second, and then Riftmaker or Nashor's Tooth third. Lethal Tempo is generally the best keystone rune, but if you're in a ranged matchup, you can grab Hail of Blades. For Xin Zhao's tier list placement, we are going to be moving him into the top lane A tier for 26.11. So for the top lane meta in 26.11, the only significant change was to Teemo, as he has seen his win rate drop by a bit over 1% due to the nerfs. Champ is not bad at all by any means, but as we predicted, he's no longer worthy of an OP tier spot, so we now have Kayle and Malphite locking down the OP tier for top lane. Heimerdinger was the one other top lane champ that got changed for this patch, and he's back to being in a really good spot, so we have him up in the S tier. As long as you're running the optimal Heimer build where you rush Rabadons and take Conquer for the Keystone Rune, then he's a really powerful top lane pick for solo queue. If you've been someone abusing top lane Varus or Vayne in recent patches, then it's probably a good idea to drop them moving forward. The nerfs to Hexplate have put a pretty big dent in the power of both champs, as they are now tracking as 2 of the weakest top lane picks for solo queue. So one jungler who has been heavily underrated in recent patches and who just got indirectly buffed for 26.11 is Rammus. The Aftershock buffs help out Rammus, and what's crazy is that the champ has consistently held a top 5 win rate in the role for a while now, so with him getting stronger due to that change, you should highly consider adding him to your champion pool right now. Of course, there's always going to be the hesitancy to blind pick Rammus because you don't want to play him into heavier AP comps, but if you just ban out Diana, then you really don't run into very many AP junglers in this current meta. Going down the list of the most common solo queue junglers right now, and we literally only see Diana in the top 15 most played. Every other jungler is a physical damage jungler, so the meta just suits Rammus incredibly well at the moment. So with Rammus absolutely dominating and moving up in power due to the Aftershock changes, we're going to be promoting him to the OP tier for 26.11. So by far the biggest winner of 26.11 has been Diana, as the champ has seen a win rate boost of around 3% from the buffs. This has shot her up from being a very average jungle pick to now a legit S tier option who's extremely valuable because she's now the best AP jungler you can play. There just aren't a ton of good AP junglers in the meta right now. Nidalee has gotten better for high elo as of recent, but for the majority of ranks, Diana is just far and beyond the best best option. So with Diana finding way more success due to her buff, we are going to have to give her an even greater push up the tier list as she's being moved into the S tier for 26.11. So if we have a look at the jungle tier list, it's going to be Nocturne now joined by Rammus in the OP tier. Going into the patch, we said to watch out for Sejuani because of Heartsteel and Aftershock buffs, but she's really not performing any better due to those changes, so we won't be pushing her up the tier list. The Darius jungle pick is a pretty interesting one right now because it just got indirectly stronger last patch with Storm Raider surge buffs, and he's been performing quite well. It's still the same Ghostblade into Deadman's Plate setup for the build as you're maxing out on movement speed. Overall, one of the more slept on junglers right now as he's placed in the A tier. In regards to the Quinn jungle buffs, the changes ended up helping her out quite a bit as she's definitely worth a tier list placement. However, her relative power is still quite low. Buffs ended up boosting her win rate from 43% to around 47%, so she's not completely garbage, but not a top tier jungler either, as we will be placing her in the jungle B tier. Something holding Quinn jungle's stat lines back a bit is definitely the fact players are building her incorrectly. Profane Hydra is just heavily underperforming Hubris as Quinn's rush item, but 40% of Quinn players are building Profane. You want Hubris into the Collector or Edge of Night as your core on Quinn, and then don't take Berserker's Greaves for boots. 27% of Quinn players are going Berserker's Greaves, but Swiftness boots are winning 4% more. So with some build optimization, Quinn is definitely not in as bad of a spot as her overall win rate may suggest, which is why we are giving her a B tier rating instead of C. So as we noted during the start of the video, Xin Zhao is a top tier pick in 3 roles at the moment, and his best role is actually mid lane. With more players optimizing Xin mid, and with the changes not nerfing him at all in 26.11, he's actually performing at an OP tier level, so we're bumping him up alongside Xerath and Fizz. What makes Xin mid a lot better than top is the fact that you get way more squishy matchups that you can just one-shot with Hail of Blades. Shin's trading pattern is impossible for opponents to dodge because the majority of his damage is point and click, and with Hail of Blades, you just burst so fast. Looking at the matchup stat lines, Xin mid absolutely stomps Katarina, Zed, Yasuo, and Nefiri, who are generally 4 of the more annoying mid laners to play into. The stat line against Zed is just completely insane, with Xin mid players winning 58% of the time in a sample of 8,000 games. So it's very clear that Xin Zhao is a top tier mid laner, if not the best mid laner in the game right now. So if you want something new to play, look no further. So the biggest loser coming out of 26.11 has been Smolder, as the champ ended up losing around 4% win rate. We knew the nerfs would hit pretty hard, but we weren't expecting as harsh as 4%, so Smolder is definitely in a weaker state than we expected going into the patch. Smolder got directly nerfed, and then he also lost the synergy between Black Cleaver and Deathfire Touch, so he's now back to being a decent ADC, but nothing special. Key to note is that even with the synergy between Black Cleaver and Deathfire Touch being removed, you still want Deathfire Touch as your keystone rune. Deathfire is still the better option over Fleet Footwork, so don't swap off just because of the synergy nerf. What's pretty interesting too is that even though Black Cleaver doesn't synergize with DFT anymore, the item is still Smolder's best win rate second purchase. So I guess Smolder players were just sleeping on Black Cleaver all along, as it's still tracking at a better win rate than Spear of Shojin in that second slot. In regards to Smolder's tier list placement, we'll be demoting him from the OP tier and down into A. So there's a new optimal strategy being played on the majority of ADCs in 26.11, and it consists of dropping Berserker's Greaves and taking Gluttonous Greaves instead. The reason this has become more popular is due to the fact Doran's Bow is now a starting item that provides 15% attack speed. Prior to Doran's Bow being added to the game, you would want Berserker's Greaves because the 25% attack speed was really nice to have. With Doran's Bow though, if you bypass Berserker's Greaves, then you're only down 10% attack speed while gaining access to sustain from Gluttonous Greaves. The majority of ADCs only gain access to lifesteal from the rune Bloodline and otherwise don't have the ability to purchase sustain throughout the game. Because of this, taking Gluttonous Greaves is going to make your mid to late game way more impactful over a large sample of games. Being able to heal up off of minion waves and getting a good chunk of health back without needing to base is incredibly valuable for solo queue, where just being present on the map at all times is super key. Now, there are some ADCs who don't really want attack speed, but still really benefit from the Omnivamp from Gluttonous Greaves too, so they can still run Doran's Blade and take Gluttonous Greaves. These ADCs include Smolder, Lucian, Kalista, Caitlyn, Jhin, Neela, and Samira, as they are still better off with Doran's Blade. The ADCs who are performing really well with Doran's Bow and Gluttonous Greaves include Draven, Zeri, Varus, Aphelios, Yunara, Ezreal, Xayah, Kog'Maw, Vayne, Ashe, Kai'Sa, Jinx, Sivir, and Tristana. So whether you enjoyed that Smolder meta or not over the past 2 patches, it's finally over now, as the champ has come back down to earth and is definitely not a pick or ban champ any longer. Ban rate of Smolder is still up around 40% in 26.11 though, so if you're someone who is still banning Smolder, you can look to allocate that ban elsewhere now. With Smolder dropping down, this means Ashe and Jinx take back the reins as the best traditional ADCs, but we're going to be moving Brand into the OP tier to join them as well. Brand as a bot lane carry is actually picking up a significant play rate right now, as it's up over 3%, which is kind of crazy because even even when bot lane Ziggs was super meta, his play rate was not much higher than that. Brand is just by far the most egregious champ in bot, and maybe in the entire game at the moment, holding a win rate upwards of 54%. The fact that champ is able to achieve this stat line while holding a play rate up above 3% is actually insane, as Smolder from recent patches and now Brand have been legit two of the most OP champs we have seen in League over the past couple of years. So there's a really interesting new build that's been picking up traction on support, and it consists of taking Doran's Helm. Supports are now able to buy starting items after they complete their quest, with Doran's Helm being extremely efficient from the stats it provides. It's really great for supports who lack a significant gold funnel. Doran's Helm is 172% efficient from its stats, so you're getting a ton of value from purchasing it. You can do this on any support, but it can be even more OP on certain enchanters with a Jack of all trades synergy. By going Doran's Helm and rushing Redemption, you can reach 10 Jack of all trades stacks. So let's take a Soraka for example. If she goes Celestial Opposition as her support item upgrade, Lucidity Boots, Doran's Helm, and Redemption, she gets a total of 10 unique stats. Health, base mana regen, base health regen, gold per 10 seconds, movement speed, ability haste, ability power, heal, and shield power, armor, and magic resist are the 10 stats. For Soraka's rune page, you can look to go Guardian for the keystone and then take Jack of all trades and secondary runes. Guardian in combination with Doran's Helm and Redemption is going to keep you extremely safe during the mid game. So overall, don't sleep on Doran's Helm on your supports. You can pick it up on any support champ in the game, and it's going to provide a lot of value for cheap. So if we have a look at the support tier list for 26.11, we are seeing a shift towards melee supports due to the item and rune changes. Leona is performing incredibly well right now, as she was already one of the better melee engaged supports prior to the changes, so she's up in the OP tier as the best support for 26.11. As expected, Nami has lost quite a bit of power due to the Imperial Mandate adjustments. The item is currently performing really bad on her, and it looks like either Moonstone or Echoes of Helium may just be the better alternative rush option moving forward. In regards to those Imperial Mandate changes, the item does look to be quite weak on enchanters, but a few melee champs are finding some success with it. Small sample size so far, but what we are seeing from the first few days of the patch is that Galio, Alistar, and Rakan are performing the best with the item. It's definitely too early to tell if Mandate is actually an optimal purchase for those champs, but thus far, it's not looking completely broken on anyone, and if anything, it's just in a weaker state overall now. Despite the synergy between Black Cleaver and Deathfire Touch being removed for this patch, Senna is still performing incredibly well, so she remains placed up in the S tier. So definitely a slight shift towards melee supports for this patch. However, the majority of enchanters aren't that much weaker. Nami was the one outlier who is definitely in a much weaker state, but the rest of the enchanters didn't lose a ton of power. Soraka is actually arguably in a stronger state than before, as she's finding a ton of success with the buffed Guardian. Guardian is now winning more than Aerie as Soraka's keystone rune, so with the new Doran's Helm strategy we talked about earlier in the video, combined with Guardian becoming stronger, Soraka is currently one of the best, if not the best, enchanter for 26.11. Soraka's main weakness has always been the fact she's more squishy and vulnerable to engage, but if you take Guardian, go Doran's Helm, and then rush Redemption, you have so much durability to survive that initial engage. But while lists like these show you what to play, our brand new Season 16 Essentials courses for every role teach you how to win, each designed to walk you through every stage of the game from start to finish, from the exact trading and recall timers you need to win lane, to the mid-game macro decisions 99% of players get completely wrong, all the way to the team fighting tips and tricks challengers abuse to always deal the highest damage possible. Whether you're a top laner in the most unfavorable matchup possible, a mid laner having to deal with everybody in your lane 24/7, a jungler trying to balance ganking with farming, an ADC stuck trying to hard carry with a support who just exists to grief you, or a support that's struggling to carry games on your own. Our Essentials courses are tailor-made to focus on the exact concepts that actually matter for climbing on your role in your elo. Check them out today, completely risk-free, using the link in the pinned comment or description below, as if you don't climb at least 5 divisions, you get every penny back. So there you have it, everyone. That's a quick update on the tier list and all the meta updates we have for you guys in 26.11. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you back soon.